Hey, what's going on, guys? Brad Edmonds back with you. If you're viewing this after your course or even during, I still feel like this is an important aspect that's not necessarily within the whole structure of it, but it's a mindset that you can definitely develop and help use. Okay? This one is all about the underdog mentality. Okay? The underdog mentality. And I can't stress that enough because it is tough to develop if you don't feel like you have that chip on your shoulder. Okay. Um, I always did because I was, not the biggest, but not the absolute smallest. Like I was like right in between. Like, not your typical ideal size player. Um, and I think where I developed it was in football, when I played football, especially in that game, because my freshman year of high school, I picked it up in 7th grade. That's when I first started playing football. So I never played actual organized football until 7th grade. Okay. So by 9th grade, I kind of developed a little bit more. I was gaining some speed. I was getting a little bit stronger. But I was also only like 5'5", 116 pounds as a freshman, or something like that. Maybe 5'6". Okay, something like that. I can't remember. Maybe 5'7". 5'7" might have been my max. So I was on the smaller side, especially being a freshman. And then, but I played with such heart and grit. I just got after it. I didn't care if they were bigger than me. I was gonna prove my point. I was gonna come out here, outwork you. I'm gonna stick you. I don't care if you're bigger than me. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna stick my nose on you, right? Get my hands dirty, make some plays, because that's how I'm gonna be on the field, when I get my playing time. Sophomore, junior year, I grew a little bit more, picked up maybe an inch between there, so I was like 5'8". I think I picked up like an inch every year. So I was like 5'8". I think sophomore year I was 140, maybe 140. I can't remember my weight, but I was still on the smaller side. It could have been like the 130 range. And then junior year I got up to about, I was 5'9". I'm about 5'10" now, so that's where I stopped. So that was senior year. So I was like 5'9", 145 pounds. And then I kind of sparked up even more. I gained about 20 pounds. Finally, I gained some weight, which was so hard for me to do. And then, that's why I quit wrestling. Like, I actually did like wrestling, but I knew how it was hard for me to gain weight, and I wanted to play football. And, me having to cut weight after football season, that just wasn't an ideal thing, because they would have wanted me down to be one of their like lower weights, Then senior year I was 5'10", 165, so 20-pound difference. And then before I even went to college, I gained about 10 more pounds, straight muscle, just that's how I got to that point. But I developed that mindset being that small guy, and always just getting in there, getting dirty, sticking my nose in there. I didn't care about your size. I was gonna come in there and put my nose on you. If you didn't like it, you didn't like it. I really didn't care. I was gonna hit you. Probably wasn't until my senior year when I stopped that mentality, because that's when I got my scholarship to go play D2 baseball. So, my mindset and my focus switched on that. But even within baseball, still not the biggest compared to most guys, but I had some tools. I outwork people. So virtually my definition of it is having that mentality of playing 100% and leaving it all out there, whether it was practice, whether it's a game. how I was feeling that day. It didn't matter, because I would stretch out, get ready, get loose, go out there and play the same exact way. And, I was always the type to leave it all out on the field. Leave it all out on the field and let that do the talking. And, especially football, I mean, booster kids always got the advantage. They just always did, always will. And it's very unfortunate, with the politics with boosters and all that. I mean, some of the kids were talented. They were. But I 100% outworked majority of them, and still, by my senior year, I got hurt after 4 weeks and had to sit out. Didn't get any of my positions back, which kind of stunk. But at that point, I kind of cared, but I didn't care because I was geared and set to go play college baseball. Okay. So yeah, my definition of it is to never give up. Always go out there and outwork people, no matter what the circumstance is. Okay, I mean, I could have been competing against a booster kid, but I was going to have the same exact mentality. I mean, even if I wasn't going to get my fair shot, I mean, I was going to play like I was a train wreck. Yeah, well, not a train wreck, but, just a tornado coming through, a Tasmanian devil, like Looney Tunes. But yeah, I mean, it's all about outworking. It's all about outworking. Okay. I mean, I always loved the kids that were bigger than me because that was the challenge. And when you see that challenge, you're always ready for it. Okay. Even when I was in college, I was upset when coach didn't call my name because I was in line because my junior year I was a conference starting pitcher. I kind of lost that my senior year. I was having some elbow problems and my velo really went off the rails. I mean, I was pitching through elbow pain, going to the athletic trainer every single day because, I still wanted to play and made sure that, I could do enough to be able to feel good for that moment to be able to go out there and play. But, my junior year, I was upset when coach decided to pitch this senior who was never, he was never one of our conference starters. He was kind of more just a reliever. And, I was upset when he didn't call my name to pitch against them. And it was the number one team in the nation. I wanted to face them. I really did. I was upset, but I mean, I got over it. He still stuck me at second base, which blew my mind because I stopped taking BP. And, I stopped working with like the infielders. Kind of like me sending my message like, hey, I just kind of want to pitch. You keep sticking this other guy there. I'm probably better than him, but he may be a better hitter than me. Maybe at this time, maybe not so. But whatever it was, he always went with him. And I just kind of went with the pitchers and did my thing. And he called my name to play second base that day. I'm like, whoa, like. And I faced a guy that got drafted in the second game. He got drafted the next year. And he threw 93. And if you are a Prime member, like I said, go and do that vision training because that 93 that day, I mean, the ball was huge. It was slow. I was in full control. It was absolutely amazing how that vision training allowed me to have a chance against a guy that got drafted and throwing 93. Like it didn't look like 93, and I heard it from the stands. When they had the gun out, like they were like, "Oh, he's throwing 93." I was like, "He's throwing 93." Didn't look like it when I was out there. Like it was pretty cool stuff. But also you got to figure out a way to be able to work harder. Work harder than everybody else. Work smarter. Work harder. Okay, always find different ways, different advantages. Do some research. Really get down your technique. Just work smarter than everybody else. Okay, do the stuff that is outside of the realm that everybody else is doing, and give yourself an advantage and do something that's a little bit different than everybody else. Okay. And a big key is you got to do something every single day. Okay. Especially if you're on the undersize, but I mean, even if you're the typical size, you know, you're 6'3", 180, 190, 200. I mean, you still gotta be doing something every single day, because, I mean, your size is gonna get you so far, and then everything's gonna catch up to you. I mean, that could be college level. I mean, it could be beyond the college level. But once you get to like AAA, if you're lazy, it's all gonna come out. It doesn't matter if you're 6'3", 210. You're dropping bombs at the college level. You were dropping bombs as a senior, but now you can barely hit, you know, a single. Like, you got to be doing something every single day. You know, no matter what. It doesn't matter how you feel. I mean, obviously, if you're injured, yeah, you got to be taking care of that, but you can still do some mental reps, you know, doing dry work while you're doing it, you know, the mental game. Okay. Surround yourself with like-minded people. So, like, even before I went off to college, I knew I was going to college, so I pinpointed somebody else that was, you know, geared up with the same type of mindset, wanting to play college ball. I hit him up, and we went the entire summer leading up to my freshman year. I mean, we were up to the cage almost every single day. Okay, even if we had a game later on that day, we were still meeting up. Like, you know, we lived in the same neighborhood, so we drove there. You know, drove up to the high school, went up to the cage, went up to the field. We threw. Even after the season was over, my work didn't stop because I was going on to play college baseball. So, you know, I was still doing my pitching. I was still, excuse me, and I just made my screen shake a little bit. But, no, it wasn't an earthquake. It was just me. But, yeah, I mean, we literally did it almost every single day. Okay, barely any kind of breaks. Okay, I remember even when I was younger, you know, before getting into that mindset that I was going to play college baseball, like, you know, my dad got a thunderstick, you know, which was pretty cool. But then we also started challenging ourselves with, like, seeds and popcorn kernels, you know, which are like this big. But you knew when you made contact, because you would hear it, like, hit the barrel, and then it would just go, like, through the air, like, you know, it was pretty cool. But, you know, you always find new different ways to, like I said, work smarter, okay? I mean, something that big, like, you really gotta focus. You really gotta learn to focus. And, you know, not a lot of people would be doing that. I mean, especially nowadays. Okay, you got your plyo balls, you got, you know, the heavy balls, you got the wiffle balls. You know, we did the wiffle ball thing too. We did, and a lot of things you don't see is, like, you know, playing games of pepper, playing, you know, bunt game and different things like that. But, we use those popcorn kernels, you know, definitely working on vision, working on focus, you know, which was awesome. Also making sure that you go and study. Study every little bit. Watch baseball. Watching baseball is huge, especially within your studying. You know, find your favorite player. Study what he does and what you like about his game. Okay, I mean, a lot of guys now, I mean, I would, me personally, I would find it tough to find a guy that I like, because, I mean, they don't bunt. Like, I love Francisco Lindor, when he was at the Indians, but, like, toward the end of it, you know, he just became more of, like, a power hitter, and Francona was still putting him in the leadoff spot, and they're putting on that pull, but you're in a leadoff spot, you're a switch hitter. Bunt. It's a free, easy hit, right? A lot of these guys are getting away from playing smart baseball. They're all for the show. And, I mean, if I were to pick one guy right now that I truly like in the game, would be Michael Brantley, but he's still more of an old school player. But he does a lot of things right. You know, he hits all parts of the field. Smooth swing. Strong mental game. Okay, but if I were to pick like one of my favorites from back in the day, I mean, if I were to pick a home run guy, my home run guy back in the day was Sammy Sosa. Or, I used to love Bonds. I liked McGwire too, a little bit. Sosa seemed to always be my guy, and same with Ken Griffey Jr. If I were to pick the gritty guys, the guys that played the game hard, played the game fast, played with 100% heart, those were always my favorite guys. Those are still my favorite guys to watch. Was Kenny Lofton and Omar. Okay, and of course I'm picking a lot of Indians. That's where I live. Okay, and that's who I grew up watching. Especially back in the 90s, early 90s. I mean, that was awesome. It was awesome watching those guys play. I also liked Manny Ramirez a little bit. I mean, not a big bunter, but I mean, Kenny Lofton could lay down the bunt. Omar could always lay down the bunt. They always played good, solid defense. They always left it out all on the field. I loved watching those guys, and plus they were on the smaller side, and I loved watching that. You gotta live baseball every single day. Live it. You gotta have it on your mind. Okay, you gotta be unhappy if you chose to be lazy that day, and then you gotta make that fix the next day. Okay, but you should be at that point. You know, once you develop this mindset that you're not taking those days off, you're gonna be doing something. Even if you're not going to the field and you're having like a lazy day, do some dry work. Right? I mean, you can still pick up a bat in front of your TV. Work on your mechanics. You can still pick up your glove, baseball, work on your pitching mechanics. You know, do some stretching, do some body weight exercises, something. Learn to know your opponents. I mean, that was huge, especially being an underdog. You know your opponents better than they know themselves and their own tendencies. Gives you a huge advantage. I mean, one thing that I always did, especially when I play the field, I knew exactly after the first time through where they hit the ball, where they were fouling the ball off against a pitcher. If they got a hit, where did they hit it? What was the tendency in their swing? Where I needed to move on defense to give me an advantage. The pitcher, you know, and I'll tell you what, one big thing was, I was an aggressive hitter, but I also worked the count every single time. I used to always see at least 5 pitches. At least. That was like the bare minimum. And, you know, I was a good eye. You know, I would draw some walks. For some reason, I always got... I would get a lot of hit by pitches, which was crazy. Never wore an elbow guard either, because every time it seemed like I wore an elbow guard, I would never get hit. And then I take it off and I get hit. And, you know, my brother was the same exact way. It was absolutely crazy. It's like an Edmonds thing. Like, we just got hit. You know, didn't make sense. But hey, I like first base, so it didn't really matter. I like getting on, you know. That was another thing, you know. I really didn't focus on batting average. I focused on on base percentage and getting on base. Okay, that's the way to score runs and produce runs for your team, you know. And I was always a base stealer, so swipe the next base. You know, you hit me, you walk me, I get a single, I'm turning that thing into a double now. May turn it into a triple by stealing third. If the catcher gets lazy and the pitcher gets lazy and throws it in the dirt, I could potentially get home off that too. I mean, either way, I put myself in 90-foot position. I was also that guy, like, if you put that ball in the gap, my mentality was I was scoring until my coach let me know. Okay, I was scoring from first base. I was scoring from second base. Okay, unless my coach held me up, you know. So, I mean, know your opponent's strengths and weaknesses, and the first time through the lineup is your best gauge on it. Okay, your first at bat, you know, because I was the leadoff hitter for a little bit, 2-hole hitter, you know, anywhere in between, you know, those two, sometimes 3, 4, 5. I didn't care where I hit, as long as I was in the lineup. And that's another thing. So many people get so bent out of shape, you know, when they see their name get dropped in the lineup. No, that is your motivation to work harder to get back there. Too many are, you know, get upset, and their parents will get upset and all that. Don't get upset about that. That is such a cop-out and an excuse. You're still in the lineup. The coach has seen something where you may be lacking success in that spot specifically. You could be a leadoff hitter, and the thing is, we did it this past year. We mixed the entire lineup up, and it threw all our parents off. It was absolutely crazy. But like, some of the guys were not having the greatest success hitting in certain spots. So I mean, it was more of a mix-up to motivate those guys to get them back to the spots where they could be the most effective for the team. There was not a good response out of it. And because, you know, the mentality that I always carry with myself is, I don't care where I'm hitting, just put me in, let me play. You could put me in the 9-hole, I don't care. I may still have the highest batting average on this team. You know, or the best on base percentage. Whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure I get to first base, or, you know, do my job to get him from second to third, whatever that may be. Okay, and you gotta be able to learn to adjust. I mean, like that example I gave you. I mean, that's an adjustment. It's like a motivational thing, as long as you have the correct response to it. Okay. What you're going to learn throughout that course, if you haven't viewed it yet, is E plus R equals O. The event plus the response equals your outcome. Okay? And crazy thing is, you know, us doing that, I mean, the team disbanded. We don't have that team this year, which is crazy. It's just crazy to think. A lot of guys went and looked elsewhere, and, you know, some guys just got bent out of shape and not understanding the whole reasoning behind it. The thing is, as a coach, let us do our job, and as a parent, push that extra motivation to get back to that job. Don't get bent out of shape being like, oh yeah, no, he's a 3-4 hitter. You know, he's been hitting in that spot all year long, and why is he now hitting 5? Why is he now hitting 7th? We gotta get a little bit more production. We gotta get them back to be able to earn that spot back. Right? I mean, you gotta get that mindset, even as parents. You gotta get on the kid and be like, hey, you gotta do this to get that spot back. Right? Not, hey, you've been in that spot all year. I don't understand, and you don't deserve to be moved down. Sometimes you just gotta mix up the lineup. See maybe if it clicks. Also, it could be a way to get some guys some extra development at the same time. It's not all about wins. Okay? So the underdog mentality. And the last thing I'm going to finish up with, you probably saw it on the e-cover on the page that you saw to get to this to purchase this. The American Underdog, Kurt Warner's story. Absolutely amazing. I love Kurt Warner back in the day. I'm a Browns fan. And when the team left, you know, I didn't have them to watch, and this was the team I decided to pick up and watch when I was younger. and I wasn't jumping on bandwagon. I liked their colors. They were the same colors as our high school, so I watched them because of that. But I mean, then I found out, more about the team and all that. Love Kurt Warner's story. It's all about Kurt Warner's story, being an underdog, the journey that it takes to get to where you want to be. Okay, and I mean, it's not easy, and he knew that, but he kept working. He kept working because he wanted it.